Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. And if you like to stop your cravings, ruin your fat loss journey, that's the right video for you. Keep watching. Hello everyone, I'm Marfi, and if you're new to my channel, please subscribe. I'm a fitness coach, nutrition coach, and personal trainer. So in today's video, we'll show you some tips and how to deal with cravings if you're on a fat loss journey. So the first step will actually be to actually acknowledge your craving. So why do you crave and what it is? So if you're craving, you experience the uncontrollable desire of a specific food and it usually lasts about 5 minutes. But for some people don't. Why? Because you give in to the temptation. So yes, you're eating that kind of food that you've been craving, and that will lead to actually binging, which that means eating more than the amount that you actually need to be satisfied. Okay, so how are we stopping this? I will show you 10 tips that will help you to stop and actually prevent it. So first tips will be to eat more protein. So why? Well, protein is a great macronutrient that will help you to feel fuller. So you have to take in account that if you're craving a specific food, it's because you're missing something in your diet. And this can be perhaps protein. Why protein? Because it's the building block of our muscle, it's to help our immune system and other function. So if you don't have enough protein in your diet and perhaps at each meal, then it will lead to actually craving, and usually during the night. So if you experience that late evening craving, that's why. Eat more protein, feeling fuller and satisfied, so later in the night you haven't got that problem. Tip number 2 would be eating more fiber. So like protein, fiber is the great tool that you can use to avoid those cravings. Why? Because fiber helps intestinal function and it will help your brain and anti-stress and many more function. So if you don't eat enough fiber in your diet, perhaps you're gonna have intestinal problem, perhaps maybe constipation. All these will lead to actually craving later in the day, because if you notice, all the cravings, they're not during the day or in the morning, they're always during the night. So if you make sure you eat a lot of fiber, good vegetable, and whole grains, that will actually help you to fight those cravings. Tips number 3, don't restrict your carbs, your carbohydrates. So many people think that limiting your carb, it will make you lose weight and fighting cravings. It's the actually opposite. So you have to take into account that carbohydrates is our source of fuel. We need it for normal function, everyday function, and for exercise if you do exercise. So we need it for overall health and daily requirements. So if you haven't got enough carbohydrates in your diet, that perhaps will stop the glucose going through your body, and that will lead to feel empty, like you feel that empty stomach, for example, and you feel like that you want something. Now in this case it's carbs, but you don't know that, so you translate as, okay, I want some sweets. So that's why it's so important to make sure you have a good source of fat and carbs in each meal. Yes, because fat is important too, but make sure you have that carb, that's so important, and then all the other nutrients. Tip number 4 would be to plan your time to indulge. What do I mean like this? So if we're thinking that we actually can implement these sweets or what you desire, what you actually craving in those moments, usually it's chocolate, fatty food and sugary food. Okay, so if we can implement this in your plan, maybe a square of chocolate at your snack as afternoon every day, that will actually prevent for those craving. Because if it is planned, you already know that, for example, is allowed, because sometimes you feel too deprived, that's why the cravings come in. If it is a lot of them food that you actually craving, but just 1 or 2 meals during that day, and you know you're gonna be satisfied for all week. I can really guarantee you that you're not gonna crave if you actually implement it as every other food that is in your plan. Tip number 5 will be avoid anger. So what do I mean by this? Is avoiding to be angry, to go too many hours without a meal, without a snack. So I definitely recommend for you to eat regularly in small portion every 3 hours, for example, or just to keep a snack or something healthy with you. That's gonna avoid to crave later in the day. You have to remember that we need to prevent this to go then later in the day and show up, right? So what we need to do is do all the right step through the day to make sure this doesn't show up during the night or even in late night, okay? So what we need to do is eat regularly, small portion but regularly through the day. That's gonna make sure that you ingest every nutrient that you need, so you're not gonna miss any, because you remember cravings means that you're missing something, but that doesn't mean that you're missing sweets like we think, yeah, but we're missing something else. So if you eat regularly an healthy meal through the day, no more than 3 hours apart, you make sure that that nutrients is going through our body through the day constantly, okay? So definitely that's a great tips to avoid cravings. Tip number 6 would be to actually reduce stress and anxiety. Why? So some studies have been shown that women, especially if they're overstressed or they feel anxiety or they are depressed, they're actually gonna eat more and feel the anger level higher than if some. Why so? Because when we stress, our cortisol level goes up, and what that means that the hormone that regulates anger is not under control anymore. The levels spike up. So we need to keep that one on level. And how we do that? Of course, we need to keep a balance in our life in general and meditate perhaps in the morning and make sure the level of anxiety, perhaps of stress, goes down. It really is important for us women, because the cortisol level will regulate the anger, okay? And especially it regulates where you actually put that body fat on when you gain the weight, which is especially in that belly area. So you have to make sure that yes, you are a bit more relaxed for the day. Take your time, 10 minutes per day, and you time, me time, and yes, take a nap, for example, or a coffee, a tea, anything that will help you to relax and help that cortisol level stay low. 7 would be to exercise regularly. You might think, well, if I do exercise, I might feel more angry, so how I'm gonna stop my cravings? Well, that's actually not true. A study being shown that if you participate at least 30 minutes of medium to intense exercise, that will lower a ghrelin, which is the hormone that regulates appetites. And as well, it will make sure that your blood lactase is high, which that regulates the appetite. So if this is low, that means that you're feeling hunger, and then of course it will lead to craving. So make sure you exercise regularly, like even 30 minutes per day. That will do the trick, okay? And don't be afraid, you're not gonna have more hunger when you exercise, okay? Exercise is a powerful tool for many things in our health in general, and this for craving is definitely working. Believe me, tested on myself as well. Yes, it does work. Tips number 8, get more sleep. So you might think how sleep can be related to cravings. Well, if we are sleep deprived, so if we don't sleep enough or even no good quality of sleep, okay, you actually crave more. Why? Because you're feeling more tired, your body feels deprived of something. Now, like I said, we're not that good to translate the needs of our body, so sometimes we're thinking there is actually food that the body needs. In this case, if you've been sleep deprived, is you actually craving sleep and not food. But if you sleep regularly, your body will be in a good state, so it doesn't need to add something. But if it is deprived, it needs to add something, to keep the level of energy high that you need then through the day. So what does it do? It will lead you to cravings. It will lead you to reach for more food, so that fuel and the energy stay up. So make sure you get about 7 or 8 hours of good quality sleep, and that will help you to avoid cravings. Number 9, and this is so important, not that like the other one they're not, but this is so important, is thinking long term. Why? We're thinking that in that moment, in 5 minutes that we have in the cravings, the world stop, like you need to have that food in order to feel good. You always have to remember your end goal, what that means. So if it is in your case to lose weight or just staying healthy, avoid, let's say, bad food that you think is bad food, but it's not, whatever is your goal, you need to think of that goal in the moment of the cravings. Remember, cravings last maximum 10 minutes. If you can control your mind and thinking about what actually is gonna lead for me to eating more food, what's gonna lead for you to eating more food. So that means maybe gain weight, you're not gonna take that action. You're gonna stop yourself from doing this. So make sure you thinking your end goal and you thinking why I should do that just for 10 minutes of craving and ruin all the work that I've done, maybe in the gym or just through the diet. So make sure you're thinking long term, thinking that it's just temporary and not permanent. So my last tips is actually the most important, because yes, it's all about diet, nutrition plans that you follow. So don't restrict in your diet. So if you're thinking that not having that square of chocolate, that sweet cupcake is gonna lead you to lose weight, yes, and keep the cravings away, it's the opposite. Your body will crave the food that it doesn't have, right? You all need, let's say, the bad food, that they're not bad food if you have it in nice portions or small portion. The body needs it. The body needs that little fat or sugar for properly and efficiently through the day. You need that sugar level to be nice and balanced. If you don't keep them, then it's gonna lead to more cravings. It's gonna lead you to lose that weight, but then gain it all back. You don't want that. So definitely make sure that in your plan or weekly plan, meal plans, okay, you including that food that you actually love, if it is a sweet, okay, so that you actually love to have, and you're gonna miss it if you take it out, right? So we need it to be in that plan, and planning 1-2 days per week to be in your daily meals, right? Because the important is to keep that portion of food that you crave with something else. You don't want to just sit on the sofa, have a piece of chocolate, and then craving for more. So you have to make sure that you actually implement with something else in the meal. So that's gonna keep the portion control, and that's gonna keep you not craving during the night or late in the night. So if you need help with a nutrition plan to lose weight or just eating healthy or to keep these cravings away, please email me, inbox me, and yes, we will discuss that further. I can definitely help you to do so and reaching your goal. So thank you so much for watching, and please let me know in the comment below if you did enjoy this video, if you actually find these tips helpful and you can implement it during the day. What you'd like to see in the next video as well. I will happy to answer to your question in a video perhaps, and make sure you subscribe and share this video with your friends, then perhaps maybe they are struggling like you did if you watched this video. Right, take care for now and see you soon.